On the oldest anarchy server in Minecraft, we are celebrating the fight for equality by recreating an actual underground railroad from spawn. However, instead of freeing slaves, we are going to be stealing new players and transporting them to a plantation via an underground railroad system, and then enslaving them. Thanks for checking in to another 2B2T video. And if you guys enjoy the content, consider smashing that subscribe button and leaving a like on the video. So firstly, the Underground Railroad was a way for people to free slaves in the American South by bringing them to the North. In reality, there was no actual railroad, just a network of people that were used in the process to free the slave population. Probably most well known, Harriet Tubman, which is what I'm changing my name to today in order to fit in. I will also change my skin for this event to make myself a little more convincing. On 2B2T we are LARPing to the maximum, so I built a giant underground railway that leads from a place near spawn all the way to this huge plantation, where they will be forced to harvest beets and get whipped for our entertainment. The plantation itself was designed from a schematic that I found on Planet Minecraft, and then was built over the course of 3 days on 2B2T, with the help of my good friends Illville502 and Keezer Sows. I should mention, for more context, this event was actually done during the beginning of Black History Month in February. The build position was very close to spawn, within about 5,000 blocks of 0-0. With the plantation built, I bravely went back to spawn and found a new player trapped in a portal and looking quite oppressed. He obviously needed my help. He was very excited to be free and was more than happy to follow me. After a short walk to the portal and then into the secret underground entrance, we finally reached the unironic Underground Railroad. Epic. While we are on this short ride, I am priming him for what his new life will be as a beet farming slave. He seems cautiously optimistic, and rightfully so. As we arrive, I am sure he is surprised by the massive build and plethora of useless beets. He was just stuck in a nether portal trap though, so this is a better place for him when you really think about it. You're probably thinking, why would anyone follow you? And I'll have you know that despite being over 99% of the population, new players possess less than 1% of the wealth. I give them food and they follow. It's not rocket science. Of course, this is just one slave, and although America wasn't built on the back of just one slave, the first shipment of slaves to America only brought about 20 slaves or so. I think this is a relatively good start. I let him know that I am going to go back to spawn and find him some friends, aka more slaves, and leave him to his new hobby. Many of the slaves complained or asked why I only had beets, of course. And the simple answer is, I didn't want them to have enough food to escape. Beets are pretty useless as a food. They saw me pulling out shulkers of high-level gear and golden apples, and of course they wanted it. But I could not share it, as this would ruin the historical accuracy of this event. Slave masters would not have shared their food with their slaves. In order to keep things historically accurate, I gave all the slave masters this white dyed armor, as well as fishing rods, which were used as whips. With this taken care of, I went back and grabbed several more slaves from spawn, and one of them even was a fan of mine, which made the convincing easy. Of course, with 2B2T's culture being what it is, helping new players was not taken very well, and the first plantation that I built was burned to the ground by people standing in the way of equality, leaving all of its population of slaves hungry and without a clue where to go. They were lost without the plantation and my clan of white-robed heroes. So I built the plantation, bigger and better. I now had a goal of using this newfound free labor to create the largest collection of beets this server had ever seen. I also made the watchtower much taller in order to see escaping slaves as quickly as possible. In the old days of American slavery, they would have bloodhounds to track runaways. But I am relying on a hacked client and eyesight. The struggle is real. I even got the help of a few friends to make it a bit easier to get more slaves. When it comes to slavery, teamwork makes dream work. So Call Me Tall helped me lure new players to the Underground Railroad, while Pyru was the whipcracker. And then I transported the slaves between the beginning and the end of the Underground Railroad. We even managed to get a few celebrities to go to the plantation. OG name Sex even showed up. Who says enslavement can't be a community event? The famous Spawn Mason Negative Entropy even showed up to get in on the fun. We ended up whipping him in honor of Black History Month. On the final night of the event, I invited the public to the plantation and burned a cross in order to finish the mood of the Underground Railroad off on a high note. Throughout the event, we lured about 40 to 50 new players here, and at one point we were able to have around 10 people here harvesting the beets at once. I even got into character and tried to increase productivity in my spare time. Yeah, on a side note, I had no idea that you could make beet soup on 2B2T. I haven't been poor on the server in so long, I learned something. It doesn't restore much hunger, but it does restore some. At that point, I had to start keeping track of people that were trying to escape. Or the random invasion of an angry new player that keeps coming back because, although we're a plantation, we're the only place where there is food for at least 10,000 blocks of spawn. And then he told all of his friends. This is why you never feed a stray cat. I think we learned a lot about history today, and I can definitely see the benefits of free labor. But I am curious, what will happen once the new players realize the true economy of this server in a few generations and then try to somehow politically force me into subsidizing their food consumption? You can see the coordinates of the build in much of the footage, and if you're on the server, feel free to swing by. Maybe you can crack the whip a few times and for nostalgia purposes. What did you think of today's event? Was it a historically accurate representation of the events of the late 1800s in America? Let me know in the comments section below. And don't forget to smash that subscribe button, ring that notification bell to keep updated on all the inappropriate stuff I'm doing on 2B2T. Sorry for the length between uploads, I've been very busy simping for FitMC. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.